Firstly, ensure you have all the correct tools for installation as shown here, and if at any point you are unsure, please do take it to a competent bike mechanic. Apply grease on the bearing contact surface of the shaft and bearing inner race. Make sure the bearing preload nut is fully screwed on. Install the correct bearing cover needed for your bottom bracket, then slide the non-drive side assembly through the bottom bracket. This should be easy, no excessive force should be required. Install the drive side bearing cover or washer. Apply grease to the shaft spline and slide the drive side arm on. Ensure the tapered plug is removed from the shaft and screw the crankset assembly tool in. Then, using a 19mm spanner or socket, tighten until the drive side crank arm comes to a solid stop against the shaft angled shoulder. Remove the tool and grease the tapered plug thread and tapered face. Firstly, hand tighten the tapered plug using the petal shaped end of the crankset assembly tool, then torque using a 19mm socket to 70 to 75 Nm. Ensure the tool is fully seated and remains straight throughout. Grease the axle end cap and install by hand. Finally, using a 10mm Allen key, nip up to 17 to 20 Nm. Do not over tighten. To take out crankset play, screw the bearing preload nut until it comes into contact with the bearing cover. Do this by hand. Do not use the extraction spanner as you risk over tightening. The crankset should spin freely without any play. Finally, tighten the pinch bolt using a 2.5mm Allen key. This should be between 0.6 to 0.8 Nm. When removing the crankset, on the non-drive side loosen the pinch bolt and fully unscrew the preload nut by hand or use the extraction spanner. Then remove the end cap using a 10mm Allen key. Using the assembly tool, fully remove the tapered plug. Take care and ensure the tool is fully seated and straight. If there is space, install the extraction spacer in between the bottom bracket and preload nut. Then using the extraction spanner, screw in the nut, which will pull the non-drive side arm off the axle. If required, lightly tap off the arm using a nylon hammer. If you wish to remove the drive side arm off the axle, use the same procedure but remove the end spacer and tapered plug from the drive side instead of the non-drive. To install the spider or spiderless chainring, ensure the installation interface is clean and free of any dirt. Apply a small amount of grease on the spline and thread, then place the spider or spiderless chainring on the spline. The spider will only fit one way. The spiderless ring has a small indent which goes directly behind the crank arm. Screw the lock ring on by hand. Finally, using the lock ring tool, torque the lock ring to between 50 and 60 Nm. You can use either a standard BB spanner or directly place the tool upside down in a vise. If you are using a chain ring, install following manufacturer's guidelines. If you are not using a bash ring, use the spider tab covers on the outside face.